Okay, so today we're gonna get our jet ski so that we can tow it without having to worry about keeping under the wake speed. The problem with it is if you have the engine off, then you're gonna run into issues when you tow it because you're gonna force water up through the engine, and you're not allowed to do that. Not sure really why they designed it that way, but I do know there's a warning, which I'll show you in a little while, the warning that's on the hose hookup that says you must start your engine before you put the water in, which is kind of counterintuitive when you think about like if you've used a pressure washer, etc. You start the water before you turn it on. So if you're towing it, you're going to be forcing in water up there, and why take the chance, right? So what I'm going to show you is how to, like, in maybe 15 minutes, get your jet ski so you can tow it, and then you'll be able to not worry about it anymore. So what you'll need is to buy this kit. This little kit here is on Amazon. The link is in the description, and you can just use that one. It helps the channel out, but you also you won't have to shop around for all the parts. Okay, what's in the kit are a couple of brass connectors, and my particular one was 5/8. They have other sizes, 1/2 inch, etc. Mine's 5/8. This is the 5/8 valve that I'm going to be using. It's just a simple on-off valve, PVC. No big deal there. And then the kit also comes with some Teflon tape, which we can use for these threads, and 2 clamps. I've got a 6mm socket, which you'll want to use to attach the clamps. I've got a straight flat screwdriver, just in case I want to get in here if I have to. The short one. I also have this flexible socket driver. I don't know if I'll use it, but I'll bring it out. It's optional. You need a ruler, a tape measure, so that you can measure the exact amount of hose that you need to cut out. And then I have these handy, different for PVC pipe, but they'll work great for this kind of ratcheting hose cutter. That'll work pretty good, so we'll use those. Okay, so I should mention that this comes in the kit. This is separate, and there's a separate link there for you to get the right valve. And then this is the threaded end, and this is the part that's going to go into the hose that's on the jet ski. Okay, so first thing we got to do is we need to get these this Teflon on there. Grab a little piece of it. So I will pull some of that, wrap it around this, and the pressure's not excessive. Maybe it's not crazy like your house pressure, but you still want to put some Teflon on there. You don't want this thing leaking in your ski when you're cruising around. So we'll just thread this in. I guess you will need a wrench to tighten this up, so that's another tool. Sorry about that, I forgot. I was thinking more about the ones that you're going to need down at the ski. My skis are on my dock, so you need this wrench too. And we'll get this other piece of Teflon on there. I have 2 skis, so I had to buy 2 kits. That's no problem. And like I said, the link is in the description below. It doesn't cost you any more, and I did the research so you could get the right kit. It comes with everything. It's a one-stop shop right on Amazon, so pretty easy, no problem there. Everything fits nice. You don't have to go crazy tight on these. You don't want to split anything or break it. Alright, so now we're ready. Let's go down to the ski and install. Alright, so here's what we're doing. Here's that warning thing that I told you about that says you better start your engine before you turn on the water. This is the feed, if you're not running your jet ski in the water, in a lake or ocean, then you're going to want to, when you run your engine, little snail guy here, I'll get rid of him. when you run your engine, you're going to want to put water through it, of course, to cool it. So you have to connect a hose here. All right. So what we want to do is find where that hose connects to what's called a Y fitting, and that Y fitting gives you an option to fill the engine, you know, keep the engine cool with this line or the line from the pump on the jet ski. So if you look down here, it's a little hard to see, apologize in advance, but if you look down here, you see this red Y fitting. That's the fitting that we're talking about. And so what we want to do is find that fitting, and we want to make sure that we're on the right line. There we go. There's the Y fitting. You can see it. I've taken one end off, and I recommend you do the same. The end that you're going to want to cut, you want to take off and measure. Make sure it's the size that you need for the kit. And mine was 5/8. At first I thought it was a half, and I actually bought the wrong size and returned it. But it is just, mine is 5/8. So you want to take that off, verify, and then you'll have a free end actually to work with when you cut, which is no big deal, right? And so you can see the line here. This line goes through, and then for convenience, when we're out on the water, we're going to want to put the valve right about here. So then what we have to do is take off the little back seat, pull out the storage compartment, reach down, turn it off, and then you can get towed in. And I recommend you tell all the folks that are going to be, you know, on your ski, that if they do break down or run out of gas or have any issues and they need to be pulled back in, that they should have they should know to turn that valve off. Okay, super important. You don't want to have damage to your engine just because you have the valve installed and have damage to the engine because someone doesn't know. All right, so that's it. So we're going to get into it. I've already taken that off. I'm going to kind of figure out where I want to place the valve. I'm going to make my cut, and then it should be pretty quick installation. Okay, so I'm going to start by taking a look at where I want this valve, making sure I have enough clearance. And you remember, you have to cut this back to here as your measuring point, not here. You'll be too short. You got to cut it back to here. Okay, so remember that. Very handy thing. Now this does route underneath here. Let's see, there's a spot for it to go. Routes through this hole. So I'm just going to feed it through there for now, just to make sure we got good. Yep, everything's cool. So I can now see where this is going to go. I want it right here. All right. So it would make sense to cut this right around this mount. I think that'll give us enough room, and we can be able to reach it. So I'm going to cut this hose right about here. All right. Let's see what happens. This is the scary part. It's always scary to be cutting on things that are gonna make or break your day here. So I'm gonna go right about here, and mine has this protective covering on it. I'm just gonna cut through all that, pull it up in there. I couldn't get it off. It's attached at the other end, but we'll just cut it. It'll be fine. There we go. Make sure we're where we need to be. Move back a little more. I think it's better here. And let's just start cutting. These are nice cutters. They ratchet. And I'll put a link for these cutters too. I happen to have these because of my sprinkler days. I used to fix my sprinklers at my house. But got it. Okay, so that's cut, and should be fine. Now probably pull this a little bit and cut off just a little bit so we can expose the other part. Are you able to see? You are. Well, it would be better to maybe compress it back. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, it compresses. Let's not cut any more off of it. All right. So then we can always make the mistake of not putting the clamp on first. How many times have we done that in our lives? Let's get that clamp on. And then we'll put on our, we can put it on here a little bit. Again, we're working in tight quarters. So sort of align the clamp, maybe crank down on it a little bit so it's smaller, just a little bit smaller so it holds. There we go. Then we're gonna reach on here. Now, I think you might, actually I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a little soap and I'm gonna put, I forgot about that, put some soap on these barbed ends. Okay, so I ran and got this Palmolive kind of eco-friendly soap. I'm going to put it on the barb. I'm going to put a little bit inside the hose and let's see if it goes a little better. So put my finger and then I'll put it inside here. All right, then I'll put some on the barb. You don't want to go crazy with it because then you won't be able to grip it. And I might have to, you might not be able to see me doing this because I have a very confined space, and trying to film while I do this with both arms down there is going to be a little challenging because I'm going to need to hold this. All right, let's see if we can get this in there. Okay, so I got the valve in there on the far side, on the side away from the engine. But what's interesting is I told you wrong. I don't believe you should take off. You need to take off more of that sheathing. That was a pain in the butt to get off once I had cut it. So I recommend pulling some of that out, cutting it off, and pushing it back so you have access to everything. It took me a little while to do that, and I spared you watching me. So now we're going to work on the other half. I'll show you that when it's done. Basically, we're just going to slip the end onto the valve and then cut it to size and push it onto the Y connector. Okay, so it's all installed now. If you can see, I got the section put back on the Y clamp, and I've got that one hose screwed down nicely, and I was able to get everything done pretty quick. There's soap in the bottom, you can see it. That did help get those on, and it definitely is better to work from the back to the front of the ski and connect that last Y connector. That one went on super easy. The brass ones are a little tighter and more difficult because they're barbed. You can see the valve is open right now. That when the red handle is along the axis of the flow of the valve, that means open. You turn it 90 degrees and it will close. So that's the job. So the next step is to fire her up, put her in the water, fire her up, and make sure there's no leaks. Obviously we want to do that before we take it out in the water. And I'm going to do that in a second, and I'll show you that it's running. Okay, so you can see no leaks. Everything's great, it's running good, valve's accessible, no leaks at all. Okay, so that's it. You saw the full installation. I showed you what parts to get, what tools to use, and a bit of the procedure to go ahead and finish this project. It's not a huge project. My recommendation to you is that you spend a little time, study your ski, make sure you have all the right parts, the right size parts, and the right tools to get after this project, and take your time and work methodically and you'll get through this no problem. I just would like to ask if you could buy the parts with the affiliation link. That'd help out the channel. And then if you got something out of the video, you found it helpful, then please like the video, leave some comments about how your project worked out, and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. I have lots of videos and lots of topics on this channel. So we hope to see you next time, and thank you.